Hi, my name is John. I'm an ordinary person who loves solo camping. Since she left, my life has felt pointless. Whenever I feel sad, I remember the happy memories of when we used to camp together in the woods. She always loved camping with me in the deep forest, and we had wonderful times. Our favorite spot was near a lake where we'd often set up camp. She loved that place even more than I did. So to relive those memories, I decided to go back there. I parked my car by the side of the road, and from the moment I entered the woods, something felt different. As I walked deeper into the trees, I felt a heaviness in the air, an unsettling presence. I kept hearing rustling behind me, but every time I turned around, no one was there. I tried to ignore it, thinking it was probably just a deer or one of the cute little rabbits that are everywhere in this area. If you look closely, you might spot one nibbling on leaves along the trail. My wife loved them. That's one reason we chose this spot. I walked a little further and then saw a dark figure. I only caught a glimpse, but every time I looked back, it would immediately disappear into thin air. I began to wonder if it was just my imagination. I brushed it off and kept moving forward. Eventually, I reached the spot where we had camped last year. The place looked different, creepier. I found an abandoned camp there. It looked old, with a ripped tent and some scattered hiking gear. I felt uneasy. I moved closer to investigate, but no one was there. The place felt desolate, and a chill settled in my stomach. I started to think it was a mistake to come here. I wondered what happened to the people who left their camp. Why did they abandon it? Maybe something bad happened to them, perhaps an animal attack. But to my knowledge, there aren't any wild animals here that would dare harm a human. The place didn't feel safe, so I decided to keep moving. I went a bit farther from the abandoned camp and set up my own. It took me a while to set everything up, and then I went to gather wood for a campfire. After a few minutes, I returned and lit the fire. The sun began to set, and I lay outside my tent, relaxing as the chilly wind blew and branches rustled in the distance. Soon, I drifted off, lost in thoughts of her. Then suddenly, something woke me up. When I opened my eyes, that same dark figure was standing behind the bushes, whispering my name. I stared in confusion, wondering what it could be. Out of nowhere, the figure lunged forward, grabbed my neck, and tried to choke me. Terrified, I woke up with a jolt, realizing it was just a nightmare. I exhaled and laughed at myself, but the dream had truly scared me. It felt so real. Even after waking up, I could still feel a choking sensation in my throat. Then, I noticed faint marks on my neck, and I immediately panicked. Something was trying to harm me in my dreams, and I could feel its presence nearby, in the bushes, behind the tall trees. I felt like I was being watched, and I couldn't shake that feeling. Something was definitely off about this place. It was midnight, and I decided I'd had enough. I needed to get back to my car. This camping trip was over. I no longer felt the joy of those memories with her. Everything had turned into a nightmare. As I made my way back, I sensed that something was following me. I could feel its presence lurking behind me in the dark, creeping closer with strange noises that sent chills through me. I was shaking to my core, praying to somehow reach my car safely. I swore to myself that I would never camp alone in this place again. It had been a mistake. Talking to myself for comfort, I pressed on toward the car. Then, I saw her, or rather, something that looked like her. It had her face, but it wasn't right. Her feet were twisted backward, her ears were sharp and pointed, her teeth were razor sharp, and she had long, dark hair. She looked like a disturbing mixture of human and creature. I was paralyzed with fear, shaking uncontrollably. I must have fainted because the next thing I remember, I woke up in a hospital. Some rangers had found me and brought me there. That incident was my worst nightmare. I've always been a bit of a skeptic, ever since I was a kid. Scary stories don't faze me, horror games never frighten me, and whenever I hear something weird at night, I instantly assume it's something normal, an animal, or just the house settling. Despite this, something very unsettling happened to me the other day, and I'm really not sure what to make of it. I think it's the first time in years I've been genuinely frightened. I live in a forested area in the US. Me and my girlfriend live in a large cabin, and although there are roads nearby, our nearest neighbors are at least a kilometer away. We also have 2 cats, one of which sleeps in the bedroom with us, whilst the other often goes out at night and does whatever cats do when they're out of sight. Anyway, I like to stay up late at night and sleep late into the morning, whereas my girlfriend's an early bird. It was about 1 in the morning, and I was watching crappy TV in the living room whilst my girlfriend slept in the bedroom. I was beginning to grow tired when I heard something outside, near the cat flap. For clarity, our cat flap uses an electronic chip, so only our cats can use it. I assumed it was just one of the cats coming into or leaving the house, and I ignored it. Then I heard it again. It sounded like something thudding against the flat. It happened several times at random intervals, until I lost my patience and decided to just go and open the door. Clearly the cat was having trouble getting in. I never thought about it at the time, but this was weird because we feed our cats well, and they're very lean rather than chubby. I passed the bedroom and peered in as I walked past to see if my girlfriend heard the noises. She was fast asleep, but the cat that sleeps with us was staring at the window. I called her name. Nothing. She kept staring. I shrugged it off and kept heading towards the kitchen. The back doors are through there, by the way. Anyway, so I reached the back door and saw a dark shape through the translucent flap. I sighed, expecting the cat to be out there, and opened the door. It took me a moment to open the door, and I saw the cat tense up as I opened the door. The door opened fully. I froze. It wasn't my cat. Whatever it was had started moving before I opened up, and I only caught a glimpse of a distorted figure, kind of like a tailless dog, bolting, and I mean absolutely pelting it. I freaked out and slammed the door shut. What the hell was it? I wasn't sure. My natural skepticism kicked in, and I assumed it was just my other cat, and I had merely startled it. Perhaps the darkness had made it appear larger. Nevertheless, I was creeped out and decided to go to sleep. As I slipped into bed, I realized something horrifying. The second cat was asleep on the rug. It took a while to get to sleep that night. Everything seemed normal until a few hours later. I awoke to a strange feeling of dread. Something wasn't right. My girlfriend was fast asleep. I held my breath and heard something creaking by the door. It sounded too loud to be one of the cats. It was as if a person was walking about. I reached towards my bedside cabinet and flicked on the lamp. The room was illuminated, and I saw something standing just outside the open door, staring at me. The same twisted figure I had spotted outside earlier. It wasn't very tall, maybe a little over 5 feet, but it was its face that scared me the most. I only caught a glimpse of it, but what I saw will stay with me forever. It looked like a dog, but with an elongated face and almost human-like eyes. You know that weird distorted snarl hounds pull when they're pissed off? It had that expression. I instantly started yelling profanities as I scrabbled backwards, trying to straighten up. The creature turned and sprinted down the hall. I heard it dash outside and go past the window behind us, just above the headboard. I managed to look out as my girlfriend started to panic as she woke up fully. We both caught a glimpse of whatever the hell this thing was as it dashed off into the woods near our home. Grabbing my trusty shotgun from beneath the bed, as well as a couple rounds from the ammunition box that sits next to it, I ran out of the room in my underwear and rounded into the kitchen. The door was open. I'd forgotten to lock it when I saw the thing originally. I haven't seen it since, and we still live in our cabin, but I've bought sturdy locks for all of the main doors and windows in the house, and always check the exit points at night. I also go to bed a bit earlier than I used to, so I'm asleep when the freaks of the night start to wake up. I've read a bunch of forums, and the only thing I can compare it to, based on what I saw, is a skinwalker. If you know anything about these things, please let me know.